welcome to another edition of Stupid Politics. My name is Melissa Lineberry, and I'm the host of the show. And I've been very lucky to have a guest today. I'm going to let my guests introduce themselves, and then we'll get started.
Hi, Melissa.
Hi.
I'm Dr. David Powers from Auburn, Indiana.
Okay, and Elizabeth here at the library gave me your name. I've heard that you are trying to do something political.
Yes, I'm putting my hat in the ring, so to speak, for state representative for District 51, which covers all of Steuben and most of DeKalb counties.
And why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get into the politics of it.
Okay. Well, I am an ordained minister, going on close to 40 years now.
Okay.
And I served parishes in Indiana and Nebraska, Connecticut, and then Illinois. And while I was in Illinois, then I moved from the parish into a chaplaincy for a long-term care institution, a nursing home, retirement home complex that had about 5 institutions as a part of it. So I was a senior chaplain there. And then I became the president of a small Christian Bible college and served there for 13, 14 years, and then retired from that and moved back here to Indiana, where I grew up.
Okay, so you're a Hoosier by birth?
I'm a Hoosier, yeah.
Okay.
And as part of my community work while I was president of the small Christian college, I became a trustee for a state college.
Okay.
And that college had about 10,000 students and about 25,000 non-credit students, and a budget for well over $50 million. So I served as the chairman of the board for that college, while at the same time I was president of the Christian college. So I've been involved in higher education issues, both in the community and the state and the national level, for a goodly number of years. And it's as a lobbyist for higher education, if you please, both in Washington and at the state level, then I became interested, after I moved back here, in the possibility of running for a political office here in Indiana.
So what do you do now during the day?
I'm retired.
Okay. So you golf?
No, I've been heavily involved in a building project and putting up a garage and so on, and gardening and doing things with my hands.
So this year you decided it was time to put your hat in the political arena.
Yeah.
And you are running for state rep. That's in our state house.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I've learned through this political cycle I've been in is we don't even know political offices. But in Indiana, we have a state house, we have a Congress, just like federally, so we have state reps and state senators, and you would like to run for a state rep for District 51.
Correct.
Why? Let's start there.
Well, there's a number of reasons, of course. Some outward, some inward. But the political situation, as I see it at the federal level, is
out of control.
In a lot of ways, but the real fear is that things are perhaps too much in control by those who are not amenable to what I believe is to be constitutional government. And I see too much happening at the federal level that is outside of the Constitution, what we would say extra Constitution, outside of the boundaries.
Things that should be reserved for the states or the people.
Correct. So that's the broad issues there. On the state level, I believe that there are some things that we can do at the state level that will bring more, how do I say, control, but more say-so in the state level, because I feel that the federal government has too many purse strings, too many strings attached to the monies that come into the state of Indiana.
Which is ironic, because what happens with that is we send money to the federal government, they take our money, and then they send it back with strings attached, well, after they take out a little bit, of course.
Yeah, and they certainly do not send back, what they take, of course.
Right, but with strings, which is so sad.
But they are exerting, in my opinion, too much influence over the state and local government. And it's time for us to be restating our state sovereignty and to take actual steps to maintain our local and state control.
I fall in love with you when you say the word state sovereignty. I have had a few guests, Greg Zeller and other guests, that have said those words, and it always makes my heart jump.
Yeah.
Because we forget that. The states have powers.
We need, in many different ways, to kind of put that warning out and to let the federal government know that the state has responsibilities that the federal government doesn't, and that the federal government is taking too much of a bite in terms of control. And I'm not saying just in the state level, I'm talking right down to the local county and township level, that the federal government has its
federal grants, monies for all kinds of things with tons of strings attached. Yeah. People don't realize what, and then they get mad at their local officials.
But your question was, why am I doing this? Well, I think that we need to become more aggressive, and I guess that is where some of my strength is going to be at, in terms of becoming a candidate. That I want to be assertive, I want to be aggressive, I want to be proactive in terms of renewing the integrity of the state government as over against the federal government.
Are you aware that there was a state sovereignty bill in our state house that died in the House? It did not even get out of committee.
Yeah.
It passed in the Senate.
But it passed by overwhelming vote in the Senate, but not in the House.
Didn't even get out of committee.
Yeah, didn't even get out of there.
And what's sad is that all that really is saying what the Constitution already states, what you said before. The federal government, you don't have those powers. If we want some of these things, let's do them at the state level, just because we have more control locally. And if it doesn't work, we can get rid of it. When the federal government does something, we never get rid of it.
Right. Well, I think in answering your question, those are some of the outward things.
Okay.
And there are some specific issues that I would like to work on as a state representative. But I think in terms of the inward things, as I was taking a look at my life, my retirement, what I want to do with the rest of my life.
Gotcha.
That I was taking a look at the broad spectrum of experience that I've had in my work, my career, if you please. And I have been with people from the cradle to the grave in many different ways. I have, so I'm acquainted with the human issues that are there and the needs of families, and I want to emphasize that as well. So it's not just the political issues, but it's the broad spectrum of experience that I've had in many different parts of the country, in both rural as well as urban areas. So that I think that I bring out of my experience a set of skills and qualifications that would enable me to represent the needs and interests and concerns of people in DeKalb and Steuben counties. as well as for the rest of the state of Indiana.
Yeah, because when the state reps do, even though you represent a certain area, it does affect, if something passes or not, it affects the entire state.
Indeed.
Have you ever run for